Cool. Hi. As you know, my name is Valerie. As you might not know, I am a bioengineer. Actually, you might know that. I think Shamal did say that. And what I do at my work is I make organ on chips. This backfired. My mouth is now full of chips. No, I know that's confusing. I'm not talking potato chips. I'm not even talking silicone chips like computer chips. I mean organ on chips. Growing little bits of cells, little bits of tissue. Not this kind of tissue, body tissue. Just confusing everyone. Growing little organs, little tissue on a small microfluidic device. About the size of a credit card, which is this big. What I do is I take cells, these can be cultured cells, like the ones that have been grown in a lab for a very long time, or cells from donors or cells extracted from blood or urine, put them in a little channel in this credit card sized device where they're surrounded by a special gel called the extracellular matrix. This is what cells have around them in the body as well. So if I then pump media through that channel, the cells have the right environment, the right extracellular matrix that they love, the right nutrients, put them in the incubator so they have the right temperature to grow into be a little mini organ on a chip. There's different types of organs on chips we can make, which I've illustrated in a song. Liver on a chip, heart on a chip, gut on a chip, lung on a chip, kidney on a chip, cells on a chip. No, cells on a chip, that's a dip. Sorry. Where I work, we most often grow kidney on chips. There's a reason for that. Kidney is one of the most important organs in clearing toxins out of your body. Basically, everything you're exposed to through your food, through your drinking water, or alcohol, if that's what you're drinking right now, your environment gets filtered out of your body if it's bad for you through your kidneys, and then you pee it out through your urine. So basically, when doctors or researchers create new medicine, new drugs, we're in the US, we can say drugs as medicine here, they get filtered through the kidney. So researchers need to make sure that that drug is able to be filtered out and not toxic for the kidney, it doesn't do something bad. Traditionally, this drug testing happens in one of two ways. We have 2D cell culture, which is when researchers grow cells on a Petri dish. There's a problem though, cells in your body don't grow on plastic. They really don't like being on plastic. So they behave differently than they would in their natural environment. So it's not a very good predictor on how those cells will react to a drug. Growing cells in 3D, like on an organ on a chip, is much better. The other method researchers could use is using lab mice or other model animals. But using animals costs a lot of money, costs a lot of time. I'm not even going to mention potential ethical issues because there's another problem. Animals just sometimes work differently than humans do. Something that might be toxic or not toxic for a mouse can eventually end up being toxic for a human being, which isn't great when you're trying to create a medicine which does good. So organ on a chip, aside from being a better environment, not plastic, than 2D cell culture, gives us the possibility to grow human cells, basically to predict how a drug would work in a human. So as I said, we're testing new drugs, which can be very powerful in potentially finding a medicine that can work against COVID and making sure it's safe to use in the human body through this kidney toxicity testing. And not to mention, I don't know if you heard me sing awkwardly, lung on a chip, could also be a way that this technology could be used for the COVID pandemic. I have one more thing I want to do before to sum up. I'm just imagining every time I talk about science, if I were a cell and I would be used for drug testing, this is how I would feel about it. 3D is better than 2D. You better take it from me. Sure, in a plate, I grow quick, but it makes me feel quite sick. I'd rather have matrix, you see. And 3D is better than lab mice. You better take my advice. A human organ on chip better predict a damage a drug might inflict. and using less animals is just kind of nice. Thank you very much. That was all I wanted to share today.